I have good taste. I'm telling you, the stuff I read is really damn good. Even though
I'm
you would
sure it
never read
is.
it, it's really good stuff. I swear.
Mm.
Still, what else is good is this draft. Again, Neon, they've banned out the Yopaj Invoker, so they're not willing to play against it after witnessing what happened yesterday. And of course, Neon, they both teams again have history, basically because Boom was formerly a lot of their players there were on Neon before, and well, Neon's got Mikado from Boom, so there's that back and forth. We'll have to see what they do pick up. Again, with a Night Stalker Kotl, you are setting yourself up for success. You just need more to follow through. Spirit Breaker coming out, that's great. Because you have this highly aggressive lineup on OB.Neon. This could be our offlane Spirit Breaker coming out from Xiaoyu, as we saw Raging Potato play offlane Spirit Breaker as well. I feel like I should mention that it could be Mikoto mid Spirit Breaker. If he's been listening to Dreamo Cell, he might have that crazy idea in his mind. Because Dreamo Cell's played it in that lobby. I don't think it's good in
It is
mid.
good,
I think it's
John.
amazing in offlane.
It is
I
good.
think it was good because he got Divine from Hyde, right? So he got help from Hyde, but without that, I don't know. It can play out in the mid matchup depending on what Yopaj takes, but really, well, actually, no, it shouldn't be the offlane with Night Stalker, so it should just be the support, which is less spicy. It's still really strong. Plays with the aggression you have with the Night Stalker and Kotl. So there's a lot going on here. Boom. Going into the Kunkka and Marana. So they've got the Nightmare Arrow X Arrow combination. They can kind of tank themselves up against the damage of the Keeper of the Light with the Rum buff on the boat. So you can sort of hold out against the damage of the Kotl to an extent. It's still going to be really painful with the Illuminate spam. I don't see Boom having an easy way of catching the backline. Pangolier and Marana can sort of jump in, but you don't really have a big core that can kind of abuse the backline yet, so the Kotl still has a relatively free game.
Boy.
There's the Lycan. Maybe we see CTM get a Vanguard.
Man, how many broken heroes did OB.Neon just take? Like, they just took all of them. Just we're taking the Night Stalker, take the Kotl, Spirit Breaker, Lycan, give us everything. All of them. Is there a... Clinks is still up. I mean, do we still have space for that, John? Can we add Clinks to the mix? Anything else broken that we could add? Beastmaster? Beastmaster still available? What if we had Lycan Beastmaster, John? I've been theory crafting this quite a bit. Double Helm of the Overlord. Think about it.
We've seen that. I think we have seen that in one of our games. It is pretty busted. Like the aura stacking. I mean, it technically not very efficient with double Vlads on because of that, but it doesn't matter. Two Ancients. I think the bigger one is Chen. So Chen with the Ags and then the Overlord on one of the heroes. So you have just a massive Ancient army. And that's very hard to play against. Of course, you don't see too much Chen. I think we've seen it once or twice early in the patch in a different tournament. Has been hit or miss. So I don't think Neon will close out that way, but would be a really nice way, either to Beastmaster or Chen. I think that would be a fantastic way to kind of get that done.
Okay. We'll see what OB.Neon want to do. I mean, what are they even lacking right now? Just the mid lane for Mikoto. It's not going to be a mid Spirit Breaker. I mean, you could make the argument it should be a mid Kotl. Pretty hard to tell. Mikoto doesn't strike me as the kind of player that would enjoy mid Kotl very much. It's like Boom Esports, they'll go for the Magnus pickup. Very interesting. I believe that is going to be position 1 mag we're looking at here for Palos. Should be the mid Kunkka. OB.Neon, how much cheesier and broken can it get with their draft?
If they want to go all in, they could still maybe slot out that Beastmaster. Like, again, support duo of Kotl. No, they go with the Monkey, which is also kind of busted, if you think about it. They have a lot of vision capability or scouting out capability here on OB.Neon, with a Monkey King jumping around, taking more active pos 1 role. It is the mid Monkey King coming out from Mikoto, which is something we haven't seen in a while from him. So we'll have to see how he matches up. Of course, against a Kunkka mid for Yopaj, the Monkey King does have a good time. Melee hero matchup, Monkey King can leverage his slight range advantage to twack away, build up Jingu stacks. For Yopaj, he does have Tidebringer. So it kind of goes back and forth, but you do have to respect the power of the Monkey King, just because it can kind of win up the matchup just because it has lifesteal. Should be a really exciting match. Very different draft from both sides. Have to say, Neon has really improved their draft. High-paced gameplay from them with the timings they have to hit. Not a core Kotl, so you're not going to see the insane rush for Travels and Dagon, but you still might see Dagon. We have seen support Kotl still build it, so there's still that option for Neon. Should be a really exciting match to kick off here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely should be. OB.Neon looking to draw out this series 1-1. Boom Esports looking to establish dominance with a 2-0 victory. Who has the superior draft, though, John? I mean, I'm looking at OB.Neon. It looks... You've got a lot of broken heroes here, but do they have the synergy? Are they good together?
I think they are. I think
Okay.
the run and gun strat with the Spirit Breaker and the Night Stalker in lane together with the Keeper of Light spamming out damage, with the Lycan to push, with the early activity a Monkey King can give you, it does pan out. For Boom, we've seen Pos 1 Magnus. You know, you need Blink, you need Echo Saber, and then you need AC. You need a Daedalus up to really get damage going. There's a lot to farm up on that hero. It can farm fast, but without the items, you're only really contributing RP. The damage has to come out from Yopaj with his early spells, and that's easier said than done. So I think overall, Neon, they've got the timings this time. They just need to execute. Whereas for Boom, their goal is just to build up on Paulus once more and try to stall the game out a bit.
All right, we'll get into it. Game number 2 between OB.Neon and, of course, Boom Esports. Set to get underway. Oh, goodness me. All right, calm down, everyone. There we go.
Never ends.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's fine. All right. Looks like everyone's got their voice lines out now. We are going to have an immediate pause, unfortunately, John. Not 100% sure what the issue is. Looks like it was a pause out of... Oh, I can't see it because they've spammed so many voice lines, but it was OB.Neon. There we go. All right. We figured it out in the end.
Yeah. They give the go-ahead on OB.Neon side. Now I'm just waiting for Boom to give their go-ahead as well. There we go. So should be underway game 2. Game 1 going really well for Boom. I don't know if they meant to launch that arrow. That's fine enough from Play Hard. It's going to be off cooldown next. They will smoke out. They are actually going to follow the pings and look for some movement. Level 1 fight, it's rather back and forth. I think either side can really have a good time there. You do have to respect the Illuminate, as, you know, CTM's done this before with the early clump ups on his Keeper of the Light last time. You can rack up the kills. So we'll see if Hustler starts to find a position here to punish the clump up from Boom. But this is classic from the Boom side. I mean, classic for the players on Boom. Just going for that early first blood attempt. We'll see if they can line it up.
We'll see. Group up is there. It feels like Play Hard already gave them the warning with the watch out, watch out, watch out voice line, John. Kind of warned OB.Neon that they were coming. We'll see. They are going to wrap around through the dyed triangle. However, Hustler is there to break the smoke, but CTM should be able to get a nightmare. No, the fog just keeps kicking in. Hustler, can they get him in the end? Not quite. Everyone is out. Boom Esports, they will get nothing for this rotation.
Yeah, they miss out. Yeah, Paulus not very happy about that. Should be able to still secure a good amount of bounty runes. The side of Boom are trying to run up and maybe snag a couple away. They could end up with a 3-1 start. I don't think they're going to be able to get a 4-0 start once more, so Neon should start off with a little bit of gold to play with. Though Johnny is going to contest that triangle area.
FBZ, see if he can take the bounty for himself, but Genuel going to be a bit threatening here on the Spirit Breaker. FBZ, shield crashes there. Illuminate going to be channeled, but in the end, it seems like Genuel does pick up the bounty rune and now goes for a charge back in onto FBZ, and this is going to be a substantial amount of damage out. FBZ, no salve available. Can just bring one out of the courier, and I think he just may do that right now. Already a lot of harassment dealt to him by the side of OB.Neon.
It's just down to Keeper of the Light level 1. Illuminate is very painful. Still see the lane breakout as Hustler TP'd at home. You've got FBZ again on that off lane with Play Hard on Marana. Laning up against Johnny in the Spirit Breaker and 458 on that Lycan. Already microing those initial wolves to get some harassment onto Play Hard. It is a rather back and forth lane. There's some aggression that can come out here from OB.Neon, especially once they hit the greater bash timing on Johnny so you can start to trade right clicks a bit better. Look for the lucky bashes, build up on that. For 458, laning up against a Pangolier is not going to be particularly fun. Shield crash is just going to be constantly pressuring a wave, harass you out. And you don't really win initial right-click trades against a Pangolier until your levels in the Feral Impulse is up. Even then, level 1 of that is not amazing. You might have to wait for like a level 2 Feral Impulse to really feel good. Should watch yourself. Creep Micro is important for 458 as FBZ can kind of clear out those early Wolf summons. So you have to be cautious about giving too much gold away to FBZ in that way.
Absolutely so. Of course, over in the mid lane, your Page going to be against Makoto once again. You know, I don't know how big of an advantage you have on the Monkey King in this mid lane. I always say this when you are against the Conker, but Tidebringer, it just does so much damage. And once you get to that level 5 mark, it's such a low cooldown. You just keep smashing away with that title, the Tidebringer. See what Makoto does get done in this mid lane. I doubt your Page gives him the opportunity to get any big Jingu Mastery stacks off into say a Boundless Strike.
Yeah, like he's gonna try to keep his spacing very well. Of course, that's the ideal here. Just play with a Tidebringer, prevent yourself from getting twacked too hard by the Jingu. Even then, there's a back and forth there, right? Like level 5 timing for Mikado is also pretty strong. Maybe, you know, not able to really utilize Tree Dance, but the Jingu and the Boundless hit will really rack up. And for Yopaj, his control is on X mainly, if he can land his X combo with the Torrent. Easier against a melee hero, but you have to watch for the side lane rotations. I think it's really John Uel. You should start abusing the charge by level 3 on his end. Maybe even have an early rotation of Hustler collapse onto the mid lane to get the Illuminates out. And then you can easily handle Yopaj before the boat is up.
Of course, the bot lane as well. CTM going to be there on the Bane along with Palos. You do have Hustler and Xiao Yu, and we've actually got a bit of an interesting scenario here as both Xiao Yu and Hustler, I believe, are together for some reason, right next to each other, in fact. Looks like they were trying to deal some harass onto Palos, but Hustler's the one taking most of the damage. I doubt there's any kind of kill potential here, but it is going to be a lot of damage going to the way of this Keeper of the Line.
Yeah. Dropping fairly low. Does not have a salve, so he's going to just have to play around with the tangos. CTM did opt for level 1 Nightmare when they were trying to go for that first blood, so he doesn't have the Brain Sap to really punish. But this lane for Boom, down the line, they're going to have Nightmare Skewer as a combination. That's something Xiao Yu and Hustle will have to watch out for, as that does make it easier to punish heroes under the tier 1, start to look for that kill opportunity. Of course, Xiao Yu is fairly tanky on the Night Stalker, even at daytime initially, just a very fat hero. So it's going to be hard to really fully commit on him. If you can drag him to the tier 1 with no creeps around, should simplify the process, especially once you have some damage on CTM with a Brain Sap.
Okay. Well, we're still waiting out this pause. Your Page now having issues. Very unfortunate stuff. Seems like both teams are having some unstable internet connections going on right now. OB.Neon. It is what it is. I mean, you can't do much about it. Bit unfortunate though. A bit anticlimactic, isn't it? It's just you just want to get into the game and it just lags out.
Yeah. You know what's interesting here, Mike? I don't know if you saw it from the lobby. You can see it from the scoreboard. Palas's pub name right now is Scam Pass 1 Only Real.
Where is it? Let me see.
Yeah,
I can't
open
see
up,
it.
hover over his icon. Hover over his avatar. It's going to show his pub name. There you go. Scam Pass 1 Only Real. We've kind of outed him. So if you do see him in your pubs, that's likely Palos. It's not Scam. No need to panic.
Well, why is it that Palos gets less priority than Skem does? That's the worst part. Like, Skem's a support player. Palos is a pro position 1 player. Yet he has to pretend to be a support player to get POS 1 in pubs. What's going on, John?
I have no clue. You know, like at High Immortal, certain rep gets passed around. Maybe they just feel like they'd be willing to give it to Scam. I don't know the mindset of a high-level player. I'm not one of them, sadly enough.
Don't admit that on stream, John. Top lane. Arrow. Range creep is going to block it there for 458. Swashbuckler's there. Genuel now going to take a fair bit of harassment out. He does have the charge and may have to commit it to get out of this, and does. His courier, though, won't have a charge available and will die. That'll be the sentry and salve going down, and Genuel now is definitely going to be forced to just run all the way back to the fountain. But he does have a TP up, so he should be just fine. Meanwhile, the other lanes, Hustler dropping very low once again, and Palos able to pick up the first blood as CTM immediately picking on Hustler here on this coddle.
Yeah, and they managed to get that kill. They also get the courier kill on CTM's end, killing off Xiao Yu's courier. So overall, a really strong start for Boom, getting 2 couriers, getting the first blood gold onto Palace. Great early start for this safe lane mag. Interesting build-up here on Palace as well. He's going for the Mask of Madness first, maybe looking for disassembly play down the line, but not the Echo Saber build. So with a Massive Madness, it's more about hyper farm rather than early fights with RP. It kind of suits Palace's playstyle though, right? Like we see the same thing with his Gyrocopter opting for flak. So we'll have to see how much space he can get out and if some stacks will be built up by Boom down the line.
Shall see. They are trying to kind of return the favor here on Palos with all the harassment they are dealing out, but oh, again, we're going to have another pause out. And what can you do, right? Like, internet is internet. We'll wait. I'm sure, wonder how much pause time they've got left, though. You're getting to that stage now where you've been kind of going for quite a while. Quick reconnection in from Yopaj. Oh, straight away, he'll DC.
Yeah.
John, you live nearby the guy. Maybe invite him over your house. Might be a little bit better off.
He could come down. It's a bit risky with it's my city. So there's a funny thing. My city is currently #1 in COVID rates right now.
Oh,
it's not very safe.
Of course
sadly
it is.
enough.
Well done, John.
Sadly enough. I've been staying at home. I've been reading my manga, watching anime, and playing some Dota. You know, I've been staying safe. I've had a luxury of doing so.
Right. Well done, John.
Great mangas.
Law-abiding citizen that you are.
Absolutely.
Probably shouldn't talk.
Yeah, it's my choice. It's not my parents telling me I can't go out. 28-year-old can't go out. It's fine.
Me. How sad. It's all right, John. I appreciate that. Oh boy, I wonder how much longer these pauses are going to take. It's I mean, we get to experience these pauses quite often here in SEA, but this is an excruciatingly long one. A lot of pauses though in the region recently. I've been playing a lot of SEA pubs, and I tell you, the pause game has gone up even more than usual. It's been kind of ridiculous as of late.
Outstanding. Maybe it has something to do with the typhoon. I have no clue. It should be leaving the country. I haven't read news. I can't read, so I just haven't been keeping up. But that should be out, so it improves my. That voice line just always catches me off guard because I barely hear it.
Yeah,
but it's there.
It is there. My voice line's in there as well, John. You never hear that one, literally. It's...
right. It's on the Neon pack. If anyone ever wants to annoy someone with Mike's voice, there it is.
No, don't do that.
It's on the.
They should have.
Yeah.
Oh, Valve did them dirty. They could have gotten the other one. The other voice.
There was a great one.
There was a great one.
It was a great one.
Yeah.
Would have been really nice to spam. That would have been spammed everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Would have been amazing.
Yeah.
We didn't get it.
But it never came, unfortunately.
Someone
at Valve offices knows how to speak Filipino, apparently, John.
Or we're everywhere.
Yeah. Alternatively, they play C server. I don't know why they do that, but they might. They may have learnt what the word means, in which case they didn't want it in the game.
I didn't say the actual word. You know,
No,
I've
you
got
didn't.
a pass. Right? See? Just fine. Should have been passable, but guessing people have sensibilities are there on people.
Oh, it would have been great. Would have been great. Apparently we have 5 minutes of pause time remaining here for Boom Esports, Jonathan.
Yep. It's a little bit more to try to fix Yopaj's connection. Hopefully it improves, but sometimes turning it on and off doesn't work.
No. No, absolutely not. Water runes are still up as well, apparently. Nobody picking those up. Not quite yet. Neither hero really has a bottle at the moment, though Yopaj has a courier on the way, but no, it's just going to be the Blades of Attack. What did you do today? Just tell me a story, John. I mean, we've got a while to go, it looks like. Tell me a story. What happened today?
Today? Nothing happened today.
Oh.
I mean, I wake up, I do laundry. What did I do? I woke up, I walked my dog, and I did laundry, and that's it. And then I cast Dota. That's my day today. Well, it's not everyday laundry. That's a bit wasteful. You want a story? Like, eke me on. Give me something. Give me like a topic, and I'm gonna rant.
There are some controversial topics out there today. I'm not gonna bring them up.
Not anything like that. Something
Yeah.
fun, something casual. I'm sure I can weave it into something convoluted.
Try to. Why don't you tell me about your adventures with Hyde and Dreamer Cell, John? You were
All right. So the Hyde and Dreamo Cell thing is because there was a VTuber you, me, and Neff played with recently called Kureha Korono. Right. So I occasionally drop in to play in the lobby with him. Tends to be fun. We play with like a Japanese pro player called Swan and Dreamo Kairu. So one time she collaborated. She collaborated with us earlier on. She collaborated with Bok. That's the first big one that kind of caught attention. Bok outed as a weeb. He is half Japanese anyway. And she had a collab with Dreamo Cell down the line. So that was fun. And then Hyde's been joining in lobbies. And of course, Dreamo Cell wants to sneak in as well. So we end up with Dreamo Cell and Hyde in a casual lobby with people who are between Crusader to Archon for the non-guests, the usual suspects. And then so that's the level there. And then they have this group of players from her like fan base that are like high divine, right? And then you have Dreamo Cell and Hyde in the lobby. Yeah. And we tried shuffling around. We couldn't get a balanced shuffle because it ended up, for some reason, with Hyde and Dreamo Cell on the same side every single shuffle. Eventually, we were like, all right, I'm going to shift out. Just take that slot, Hyde, go away. And, we expected a fun time because they explicitly typed, Korea explicitly typed in lobby saying, fun game. Okay, with all exclamation marks emphasizing fun. So we go in, and Hyde... First picks, it was all pick. So, it's not like there were ban phases or pick orders. He just takes freaking Lycan.
He takes Lycan.
He just takes Lycan. Dreamo Cell immediately first pick mid Spirit Breaker. Right? He's having fun, or he's trying to. And there's Hyde playing seriously up against Crusader Archon level players,
with Lycan.
And just takes Lycan.
Sickening.
He had an Overlord timing of like 6 minutes, I think, in that game. So you can tell how good that went for him in his lane. And they conspired. Like he decided to give a handicap, hand over a divine to Dreamo Cell at like 17 minutes in. I think maybe around 15 or earlier. So he got the divine, and that kind of worked again. It worked really well for a while until he got 2 divines. And then it started getting silly because we couldn't, at that point, we were stuck high ground. We couldn't go out of base. And it was only Dreamo Cell who was playing the game, right? Like, we were all just like 4 bots supporting one guy doing all the work. And he would charge across the map. We had no neutral items beyond tier 1. He would charge across the map, kill off the camps, and the neutrals would just drop anyway. And it would just... No one would pick it up because it just dies. It still flies towards Dreamo Cell, but no one could pick it up. And that was it. And we lost the divines eventually.
Luckily, we've got the unpause going now. Thank you for that story, Jonathan. Yopaj, I believe he's playing with the lag. I am not sure. Do you want to check the ping right now for Yopaj? What's going on?
Yeah, let's take a look here. Let me just check what Yopaj's name is. Rasmus, right? You go do the play-by-play. Let me take a look.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take that long to check the ping, John. 458, top lane. Gonna get dived right now. Swashbuckle out. They've got the kill. Not great news for 458. Dying on the Lycan to FBZ and play hard, but that's how it pans out. Januel on the +5 SB, unable to really do much to help out, so very unfortunate set of circumstances here. You got the ping, John?
Yeah, 258.
258?
Yep. For Yopaj mid. So he's going to have a great time there. Just simulating a connection to America from the Philippines. We'll see how well he holds up. So far, he's still top in CS. I think all things considered, not going as bad as you'd expect. Boom overall having that good start. 2 kills under their belt. Less than 1k lead. Their lane's shaping up well. The pressure being applied to 458 is pretty darn nice. Again, that Lycan is still going to be able to hit that good timing on the Dominator, but you don't want to lag too far behind. You want to hit that fast Overlord. You want to be able to run and gun by the time you hit level 6. Ideally, Dominator lining up with that level spike is your goal.
Well, nice charge. Gonna avoid taking too much more harass here from the side of Boom in this off lane. He's 258 ping. My goodness, that is rough for a mid laner of all things. And funnily enough, he's still top of the CS board, so I guess he doesn't really care about it too much. See how much the man can do with this kind of ping issue. There's now Genuel back in on Play Hard. Gonna provide a bit more harass to the Mirana. Play Hard doesn't look too bothered by it. And you look at the CS board right now, John. Everything's seemingly going the way of Boom. I mean, there's no real struggle here. Palos is farming just fine. Paj is farming just fine. I suppose on the brighter side, you do have Makoto, who's doing a great job on that mid Monkey King. He's not going to be enough. You need your side lanes to win out here for OB.Neon.
Yeah, I think the more important thing for Neon is, hitting level 6 spikes. You want Dark Ascension up. You want to be able to play with maybe level 7 Wukongs or level 8 Wukongs on Mikato, jumping around with Tree Dance as well. And just kind of hit that stride. The biggest one is probably 458's Shapeshift. So you just need to ride out these early levels and get the levels up. You do have to be worried about losing CS War though. Like, the difference between the Lycan and the Magnus is going to amplify, because Magnus with Empower just focusing on himself is going to farm really fast, especially with the Mask of Madness for Paula, so definitely something to be cautious about.
Paj gets ganked mid lane. Genuel able to get one. He does end up dropping for it, but a very worthwhile trade there for OB.Neon. Paj, I mean, it only gets tougher and tougher. As you know, the man's got a target on his back, and ping or no ping, they're going to aim him. In fact, knowing he's lagging, you'd probably aim him even more.
Yeah, you just bully the guy down. He's got no choice, unfortunately, for Yopaj. So he's going to have to cop it. I think with the delay as well, I mean, right now we're not seeing an issue because he's just playing around with Tidebringer, but once it goes down to getting the X mark into Arrow, X mark into Torrent Boat, that's where things can fall apart with that kind of delay, and that is a big part of Boom's early engagement. Palos?
They're getting a jump. Shockwave is out. However, they've got plenty of damage and plenty of dive potential, and Palos, he's got nothing to fight back. So another kill to go the way of OB.Neon. So they get Palos, and they even got FBC at the top lane. 458 was able to secure a kill himself now, so kills all across the board here for OB.Neon and Boom Esports. Now the ones dropping bodies all across the map.
And that's what we want to see from OB.Neon with this trap. We talked about timings being very fast on the side of OB.Neon. The levels are stacking up, and they just need to get those early rotations out. Punish the slower pacing from Boom. Magnus takes farm. Kunkka, to a certain extent, needs farm as well. So you just want to keep running and gunning at them while you're super strong with your supports, while you've got all this burst damage on hand, and just win out that way. You're probably going to look for the push later on. Once that Dominator is up, it's still slow going for 458. The Dominator's still a ways off. Not the fastest time we've seen, but he did have a rough start in Lycan. He's getting some solo space out now, and since he can solo jungle, it should still come out.
Boat to fly in. They've got a nice easy target there onto the Spirit Breaker. Genuel gonna try and charge. They have the X back anyway. CTM just gonna go ahead and brain sap him up. Genuel seems to think there is a ward around, and he's not wrong. There is definitely a ward around that area. Very sneaky Observer ward though. It's one of those ones that's very hard to catch out, and generally speaking, that one should be able to just live out its duration.
It's doing a ton of work. It's super value as well to watch the Spirit Breaker rotations. And that's why there's such strong emphasis from Boom to have these river wards all across, like all the way from bot to top, just littered with river wards to prevent the effective rotations from Johnny. Well, you can still find angles, and we have seen that coming out from him. The bot lane is still being shoved in by Xiaoyu. Nighttime, level 6, Dark Ascension threat, so you can't really come into defend. That is going to be a nice early push out from OB.Neon, so they can start to invade the bot jungle more. 458 doing the right thing, going in the triangle, clearing out some camps as well, though.
Yeah, 458. Cop an arrow here, but no. No arrow to fly out. They won't bother. OB.Neon, we're around the area anyway to help out 458 if he did get caught out. So in the end, I suppose he probably would have been fine anyway. Had the wall form up. should have been able to buy enough time to let him get that off. And instead, 4-5-8 back up toward the top lane. FBZ going to get charged up. Wolfform now popped, and Rolling Thunder's not going to make it in time. How lucky can you get with these bashes? Not lucky enough. In fact, FBZ, he's going to turn back around onto the Spirit Breaker. In the end, Genuel going to be just fine, but they could not kill off the Pengu.
Yeah, it's some time wasted. Not the biggest waste of time, as you are relieving pressure there for 4-5-8. Interesting to see him shift his build slightly. He's got the Echo Saber queued up next. So it looks like he might be opting to go for a Fighting Lycan build over the push-oriented Dominator build. So less emphasis on the army overall. They are still getting momentum out, though. Palos has to be a bit cautious.
Yeah, RP is skilled up now, so he does have that available to him if he needs it. Got the Monkey King around, but Nightmare is going to hold him down. Genuel is going to get the charge, but they are ready for this boat to come in, and Makoto is going to cop it right to the face. He tries to run away, but the X is there to hold him down. Meanwhile, on the right side, FBZ going to find Genuel to boot. He does have charge up in 2. Torrent. Oh, it's on target. Ping or no ping, this man, he's always on target as they get the X back. That was a really nice rotation in from Boom. Just kind of reading the movement, knowing they were coming down, and punishing them for trying to go after Palos.
And that's where the value of these river wards came out. They saw the charge coming through from Genuel. He managed to group up at the right time to counteract that. And they get the kills they need. And they're starting to build up. Yopaj saving up for the Shadow Blade build. He's looking to kind of just get the burst up front, get the control forward for the team, and start playing from there. The side of OB.Neon are still slightly ahead in net worth. That is mainly riding on Xiao Yu, considering that fairly free lane he had once the support started rotating off. Is ahead on the Night Stalker, 4.8k net worth, but Yopaj is not lagging too far behind. Neither is Palos. So three-way tie there for number 1. And the side of OB.Neon, they're kind of stacking Makoto's farm to get all this activity out.
Yeah, Arrow, no, it's not going to be there. The balance strike not allowing the X back. However, they've still got so much lockdown. Makoto, can he survive? Not quite. He will die another time, as now they are still going to try and force the fight out, but it's not looking great for them. Fiend's Grip is there. Xiao Yu's already gone. CTM, he will be chased down. He'll try for the TP, but won't make it out. But what does it matter? Can they keep finding more? Play hard. He's okay. Yopaj, he's still staying behind, trying to go after Genuel. FBZ will join. Genuel will try and charge away, and the Tidebringer will not connect. But it's still a very successful team fight. The way of Boom Esports. Genuel will eventually TP back to the fountain. Meanwhile, top lane Makoto, he's respawned up, but Palos just going to immediately commit the RP. Balance is there, Makoto. Gonna get the Jingu. You'd love a charge to give vision, and they do get it off. But Palos, he's already behind the tier 1 tower, so he will remain safe.
Yeah, just playing on edge, not able to get as much farm as he'd want in the lane. Still number 1 in net worth now for Palos. I have to say from Boom, the positioning there from CTM was perfect. Right outside range of the silence from the Night Stalker to get the Nightmare off, to cut his access, to get his control off for the side of OB.Neon. And as long as CTM can play that way, stay right on the edge of the fight, get the control on the Night Stalker to prevent that Void sounds from coming through, that crippling fear, then you're in a really good spot to still take these fights on Boom. They are ahead now, less than 1k, not a massive amount of gold, but up on kills. 8-4 at the 13-minute mark. OB.Neon, they are building up. Hustla is rushing the Dagon build still on that Kotl, as you'd expect, and they are still trying to really pressure for the charge trues from Genuel. Right now, though, they need to sit back, keep building the farm up. Echo Saber's up on 4-5-8. It's not feeling as amazing as the Dominator so far. Feels like the added utility of a big creep up front to soak damage and to use a couple of spells is a lot more impactful. We'll have to see if 4-5-8 considers going back for it, or if he feels like it might be a bit too late for the build-up now.
4-5-8 queuing up nothing yet. It feels like the helm of the Overlord is just so much value, but we'll see what he does want to do. Meanwhile, Boom Esports smoking up as 3. Palos is going to join them. Yupaj has the Shadow Blade, gets the X off onto Xiao Yu. Boat is going to fly in. Crippling Fear was committed. He might be able to survive this, but the turret is going to hold him down even longer. And eventually Xiao Yu's going to die to the skewer. Meanwhile, the rest of the team are here to try and fight back. Nether Strike is there on Play Hard. They do lose CTM. They might lose this Mirana, but no, Play Hard's going to be alright. In fact, the RP's there, Palos. Perfect position for the Rolling Thunder to just bulldoze over the side of OB.Neon. And Palos, he'll get the tips out from the team. Hustler, he's going to try and escape. The X is there from Yopaj. The arrow is perfect. The Coddle, still not going to die though. Xiao Yu has respawned. They don't want to dive underneath the tier 2 tower. FBZ, how do you get out of this one, sir? He'll choose the death.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
That was a great RP. Really was.
Palos just really in the right spot. The coordination from Boom is just on point. They've been able to work with each other really well. It reminds me of what was it? Execration when they got Tino in. So it looks like the roster swaps have worked both ways. Palos is doing a lot better now with Boom. He seems to jive really well with what they want to do. On Boom's side, Tino as well has been doing great, but that RP, just coordination it takes to get that perfect Rolling Thunder bouncing around, the X to drag back the Lycan into that position to just get control with the Fiend's Grip.
Oh, was out. He's going to back off though. CTM needed some help and it just wasn't there. Try and keep vision over Yopaj, but Shadow Blade is already up and he'll just run. Genuel, no charge off cooldown to throw out. They will still be able to scout out CTM with these wolves very soon. In fact, another fight may break out. Genuel, he cops a nightmare. FBZ has the Rolling Thunder. Arrow's going to fly in as well to lock him down. They've got to be careful not to knock him to the low ground, but he rushes forward. They'll get another kill for Boom Esports.
Yeah, they're just getting that aggression up, and we talked about Neon a while ago trying to get their own movement out. It feels like Boom has just kind of figured out what to do against them. In the Coddle timing, he does at least have level 1 Dagon up, so there's more burst on hand, but he's not going to commit all the way. He's going to need utility in this game as a support. 4-staff up next for Hustler. He is still getting the farm out, but it's not as much as the core. He's taking the back seat in the farm as you'd expect. He is still keeping up with Mikato. Of all heroes, Mikato's right above Hustler. So the state of farm here for OB.Neon still in pretty dire straits. And they are keeping up with Xiao Yu and 458 to an extent. But I worry about this pause 1 monkey not getting the initial presence it does want to build. You do want a lot of items up early to have that leverage, and it's just not lining up yet, which means Boom just keeps to get running around and not really worrying about any sort of damage output from the monkey yet.
Boom Esports, Moonlight Shadow pop. They're going to run into that die triangle. Mind you, Sentry is there to scout out, and the pings are already there onto FBZ. They understand right now on OB.Neon they can't really fight unless they get that right initiation. In fact, they are going to start moving into that triangle now, having the vision. Xiao Yu's there, but he's been caught by the Yule Scepter, but a nice wolf block on the arrow. And now the charge in onto Play Hard, but Play Hard has the help of CTM. Meanwhile, in the back, though, FBZ does end up dropping, and it's a great start now for OB.Neon to keep going. Yopaj, Nether Strike is there. They jump in onto the Mag Palace, unable to get the RP off for now, but he'll push him out of the Wukongs, and then RPs him up into the Fiend's Grip. That'll be Makoto. He does drop Palos so darn low, but they can't kill him off. The Nightmare's there on Xiao Yu to hold him down, and now 458 is going to be controlled up by Yopaj. There goes Januel. Hustler, he's the last man standing. Xiao Yu just TPs away.
Oh man, there's a bit of an error there. The blinding light from the Coddle pushed Palos away. He just escaped with a sliver of HP. There was no damage to block the blink, and they lose out in the one big kill they could have found. Boom. Just the way they move in is just way too strong. Sure, you managed to blow up FBZ very early on. The buyback still pays off there for the Pangolier. And we talked about this pick in the draft. This is an FBZ special. We used to see him play this a lot on the old Boom roster to really great effect. He's showing off why it's such a strong pick for him on the off lane. Just setting up and giving additional control.
Jump in.
Although
BTM going to be targeted. I believe there's a Dagon up on Hustler. So A bit more burst damage now on OB.Neon. Plenty of damage to start the fight again. They'll move in onto that Mirana. Orchid is there from somebody. There's somebody... I heard an Orchid sound, did I not? Oh, it was 458. There you go.
He opted for a more fighting-oriented Lycan. He did disassemble the Echo Saber to finish up the Orchid. He is actually going SNY, so no build-up on the Dominator or Overlord at all, focusing instead on just standing in front, running heroes down, getting some control for the team. And as long as he can kind of angle his way out, that can shape up. He might need a BKB down line just to ensure that the rest of the hold is not going to be too worrisome, but it's still a risk. If you do go BKB, like CTM with Nightmare, Palos with the RP can still get control. So there's no real safe bet to just ensure your forward presence isn't compromised here for 458. Side of OB.Neon, slightly reeling back the lead just down to 2k on Boom's end. They will smoke up. It is nighttime. They've got all their spells back up. They could look to force a fight out, but they are fairly blind. So they can't really go for a big smoke play just yet.
Double damage down at that bot rune spot would be very nice. And in fact, I think Palos has just spotted it. Smoke out immediately. They are going to go and secure that. Blink RP available. Top lane, however, Yopaj. That is a very dangerous place to start the fight. TPs are coming in, but it might be too late.
Dashed on the rocks.
Oh boy. Yopaj, bit of an awkward mistake there, just assuming that Zhao Yu was by himself. And that was definitely not the case. Still, see if they can fight without him. Charge forward. He's going to be on to Palos. Shockwave will hold him down. Zhao Yu moving in. Palos running with the RP, but it's not going to be able to come out. So they can't finish the job quite yet. And Boom Esports go back. OB.Neon, again, feeling very strong at the moment with this draft. Oh, RP mid lane. They got Zhao Yu. Palos, he shows up again, but the charge is there, and this time the RP will not work out in his favor, as now he's surrounded by a bunch of monkeys. However, they still end up getting him, but they get Januel in response. Makoto, well, he's perfectly fine. Nightmare's not going to do too much. FBZ going to roll through. Fiend's Grip is there. Have they just abandoned Makoto? Yeah, they have. They leave him behind. Everyone just runs back. It's 458 going to try for the TP, but they got the vision. Arrow to fly through, and Arrow will take it. FBZ does land the shield crash, and eventually they'll get through this Lycan. Zhao Yu jumps in, does actually burst down 2 with the Dagon. FBZ and Playhard both dropping, and now the charge back in onto CTM. The prolonged team fight is working out, but now the boats are flying. Onto Zhao Yu, does get the Night Stalker, but now the Nether Strike. Januel gonna try and go against his ex-teammate. The Solar Bind is there. Hustler, no Dagon up yet. It won't matter though, because he's going to illuminate. But CTM's going to buy back to try and save Japoi, but there is no saving him. So the buyback will be all for naught. And what a prolonged team fight between these two teams. But it does seem to have favored OB.Neon in the end.
Yeah, they managed to make it work their way. Do manage to get the big kills they need. They split up the fight well enough that we didn't see the big RP we needed to from Palos. Instead opted to kind of blast it onto one, and that's kind of where the fight broke down for Boom. Still, CTM.
Yeah, he was under an observer ward unknowingly, and oh, that's a dieback immediately for CTM now at the 22-minute mark. And if you're Boom, you might start looking towards that Roshan pit very soon. But it turns out they won't. I suppose maybe not 100% confident they can actually deal with the Roshan. So we'll see what they can get out of this, but it does appear that there's going to be really no objectives out of this dieback on CTM.
Yeah, without the Dominator, the push isn't as fast without the army, and I think they're just respecting the AoE control from Boom. They've got Boat, they've got RP, Torrent, Rolling Thunder. The Roche Pit is a very dangerous spot for OB.Neon to force a fight. The only AoE they really have is Crippling Fear to an extent and Wukong's. Not particularly amazing against the control of Boom in a constrained space, so they have to play it safe. They do reel back the lead their way, but Boom still hold the top 2 net worth heroes in Palos and Yopaj. I think the big farm difference is coming out from how behind FBZ is in terms of farm, as he has been a very active off lane, taking the forward position, dying for his team. That has put a constraint on his scaling here on the Pangolier. So I think that's really the explanation for the 1K. Otherwise, your Magnus is still farmed up. Your Kunkka is still hitting big spikes, going for the Silver Edge next. And that shouldn't take too much time for Yopaj. Once that's up, the damage output does skyrocket for the crit. And the break is always nice as well against a couple of these heroes. The passive on Lycan being taken off. The bash being taken off from Johnny Well is also pretty annoying. More utility there. Moonlight out, trying to invade, but they still run under that dual ward from OB.Neon, so it just doesn't pan out.
No, it certainly doesn't. Makoto just going to back off immediately. Aghanim Scepter now up on Hustler. So Will-O-Wisp is now up and available for the Keeper of the Light. A lot more team fight for OB.Neon. There's a very close match between the two. So you look at the farm game on Palos. I mean, he's just well and truly ahead of everybody else. Like, one good RP and he's just going to rip right through everybody on the side of OB.Neon, no problem. Now, Crippling Fury is there, Dark Ascension and FBZ is being targeted. Can they get in to help? No, they cannot. Immediately gets bursted down. Now Boom Esports, gotta find a way out, and Zhao Yu, he's got all the vision in the world for his team, but Yopaj gonna get an X off, charges there, Januel, gonna go straight in after play hard, but Nightmare is gonna save us. Now the Will-O-Wisp holding them down, Zhao Yu onto CTM, will take down the Bane immediately. Palos, he'll pop the BKB, but he needs to run, and Yopaj will do the exact same. However, they do lose 3, and OB.Neon looking very good now, again, to maybe go after that Roshan.
It's definitely a bit more open for them to come in. Boom does have room to play as 2 and just look for an RP opportunity. They've got the wards, so they know the Rosh is happening. The damage coming through is pretty good. They should be able to secure, but looks like Boom are still willing to run. Yopaj, Palos trying to make their way over. Rosh is dying fairly quick though.
That it is. Who's there to defend? Genuel trying to get the vision. Yopaj moving in. Torrent does land. Palos is there. The RP again. Onto 3 heroes, and now the boats are flying in. FBZ bouncing around. The Aegis is picked up by the Pangolier. For the 2nd game in a row, FBZ has snatched the Aegis away. Oh, and it's a perfect RP from Palos. Can you believe that?
They've got that AoE control. They made it right in the nick of time. And the follow-up was there. The Rolling Thunder, the boat, the Torrent. Just too much to handle. The BKBs were popped from OB.Neon, but they could not burst down this really tanky mag with a boat buff. So as long as you do chain the combination here on Boom, you've got a ton of power. And OB.Neon, they slip up just a bit. They did go for the right objective, but it was quick, not quick enough. And Boom, they keep themselves in the game. 1K lead remains for OB.Neon. You have to remember, all of their heroes are still behind Yopaj and Palos. So even with a slight 1K lead, the big cores on Boom are still relatively ahead by about 2K. And the only reason you have that lead is because FBZ's behind. But he's still doing work. Like, he doesn't need farm or that much farm on the Pango. Just have the blink, have the roll up, and he's good to go. So it's not an issue at all for Boom to have this underfarmed core as long as they utilize it well. Side of OB.Neon, with this kind of draft, you kind of miss out on the fast Lycan timing, right? So you're going for fighting Lycan, which can scale into late game. Your Monkey King isn't getting enough. Mikado's going back for the Desolator next to amp up his physical damage. And the farm is trickling in, but it's not like getting flash farmed that fast. And I think that's a big issue. Still, OB.Neon will smoke. They know RP's down. Could try to force something.
Oh, Arrow almost lands on Makoto, but they get the balance strike, Crippling Fear to start, and they will burst down play hard. Palos, no RP available for 15. Charges there, Genuel to set up, but where's your detection? Oh, they don't have it. He gets his BKB off and goes after the Will-O-Wisp. Meanwhile, Yopaj will find out the Keeper of the Light. Hustler's gone onto the Monkey King. They'll move in on Makoto. RP's up in 1 second, but the Crippling Fear not going to allow it, or will it? It's almost wearing out, but it's not enough time. Palos does drop. CTM, meanwhile, trying to Fiend's Grip Makoto, but he will survive all the way through it, and Yopaj is going to drop. OB.Neon only leaving 1 survivor, and that is FBZ, and not for long. It's a full team wipe. As the Aegis does go down, he's trapped in the forest. Blink away is quite quick, but they've got the vision, and they surely get the kill. He'll roll up, but it only gets him so far. They'll get him eventually. In fact, Play Hard got spotted. Charge. No, he's gone all the way. Genuel, he wants the kill, but the arrow is going to cancel it off. Let's see what OB.Neon can get out of this.
It's a massive win this time around. Managed to turn it about. The preemptive BKB coming through from Palos ensured that he could not use the RP. Once it faded, Crippling Fear was back up, and he just had nothing. If he didn't, have to pop the BKB to deal with the Will-O-Wisp, I think it would have been a lot better. Just save it up for when the RP was off cooldown. OB.Neon, unfortunately, can't really find too much further trouble. They don't manage to take the top tier 2, or the bot tier 2, or the mid. There's short enough response on Boom for them to come in for the defense, and I think that's going to stave them off for a bit. They do have their ults up though, and
nice initiation with the double damage. He can easily get through CTM. No Dark Ascension necessary. Charge, Genuel. We go right in onto Palos, but he was there ready to go with the shockwave, and Genuel charges right into his own death. Now Yopaj trying to sneak up behind Xiao Yu. Might be able to set up for an X, but has it on cooldown, but it won't matter. They've got the lockdown there with FBZ. BKB, but the RP's committed. Palos will have none of it. Hold him down and take him out. A 1-for-2 trade in OB.Neon. They are going to have to back off once again.
Yeah. I mean, they're finding wins, but the fact that they can't transition that to objectives is really hurting their progression here. And that, because of that, Boom can just easily look to push back. They're going to eye that mid-tier 2. The damage output of Palos makes this fairly easy, and of course Empower and Yopaj as well simplifies the process. Fortify is popped, so they can stall out and get themselves in position. Mikado looking to scout around with the Monkey. He does have the Wukongs. They know RP's down, so maybe they could take a fight here.
They're going to try. Wukongs is out. Makoto misses the Boundless Strike, and that's going to be enough to force them back, at least for now. But now the jump is back in. Januel, he'll charge right out onto CTM, but he's all right with the Moonlight. He's trying to walk away. Makoto will get it done. Yopaj, meanwhile, his BKB about to wear off. He wants to just disengage and maybe move back in as Palos is going after the Keeper of the Light. They've got him down, and Hustler, he's going to get bursted, but a nice Boundless Strike. Makoto, he may have saved the day. Play Hard, he's going to run, but now the boat flies in. They do get the Keeper in the end. Now the Rolling Thunder's there. Play Hard, he finally drops Makoto. It may cost him his own life. He BKB's up. Is it going to matter? Maybe it will. Genuel, he charges in to try and help out. Makoto's still trying to run, but FBZ to chase him down. There is going to be the dodge attempt, but it's not there, and Play Hard, after all that, drops the tip on him. It's the equivalent of saying easy after an hour game. Just no remorse here from Play Hard.
Hey, he made it work. He kited out Mikado, baited him in to chase him into that very tight ramp. And FBZ, with a roll, it's once more delivering the goods for the side of Boom. The lead of OB.Neon now drops to less than 1k once more after a 3k lead from the last fight, as the high ground's exposed. They use their Fortify early for the tier 2s, so they manage to just melt through that tower. Not going to stay too long. They spot out the Night Stalker. Yeah,
that they do. Shockwave is there. Xiao Yu gonna Dark Ascension BKB and just try to get out. And it will be enough. And Palos still has the RP and might go for a bit of a cheeky chase. Looks like he will hold it for the high ground. There's 2 heroes down for the next 20 seconds or so without buyback. Boom. You got the Ags up on Genuel now. He'll just charge right through, but FBZ's there with the roll and does move in onto the Spirit Breaker. With the Bulldoze, it's quite hard to stop him, but a nice skewer back from Palos. Gonna drag Genuel right back in. There'll be another hero down without buyback. There's Palos. He still has the RP. He still wants to go. Oh, 458, no. Walks right into Vision. He thinks they've gone, but they have not. Fiend's Grip is there to lock him down. The cavalry's incoming to try and help out, but 458 has no way out. Still RPs not used. They have it ready to go whenever.
Yeah, just the threat of it's making it very awkward for OB.Neon to approach these fights. Man, that small play by FBZ, baiting in the charge, getting the ults play off with Swash backward and lining up for the Rolling Thunder. Januel can't afford to charge in that straightforward manner anymore, unless he gets something like Shadow Blade for himself or a BKB. And the control coming through from Boom is just so strong. Their single target hold is pretty nice.
BKB forced out again from the Night Stalker. Satanic now available on Palos. He'll buy the tomb. Looks like he wants to hit that level 25 mark before he does go into the high ground and maybe just wait out the next Roshan, but it is going to be 2 minutes away. So a pretty decent timer for this next Rosh.
Yep, it's enough time for Boom to keep playing this farm game, keep widening their lead as they have control of most of the map. Now, Tier 2 still stand top and bot, so there's some room for OB.Neon to make a foray out of their lanes and try to build up farm. They are sort of clumping up. Looks like they could try for a smoke play if they wanted to. It's in the inventory of Hustla. But with that mid-wave constantly shoved in, with how far behind they are, could be hard to find the angle. Still gonna attempt. I think you've got to try to make something happen here to reel back the lead. I think they're worried about giving out the Roshan.
He's gonna break the smoke on Makoto and knows exactly where he is to skewer him out of the tree line and get the RP off. BKB or not, they should be able to get this Palos. He gets knocked back, but it won't matter. Still, they do kill off Play Hard on that Mirana. A 1-for-1 so far, and Makoto will commit the buyback immediately as now Yapaj gets charged on. He gets his BKB off and will try to disengage, but the Nether Strike is there from Januo to hold him down. Yapaj, he almost kills off the Spirit Breaker, but he doesn't have enough. So OB.Neon, a decent team fight, but they get unlucky. Roshan is still 44 seconds away, but perhaps they'll still have time while Yapaj is down. However, Palos will force the BKB out from Xiao Yu again. And so now you're not going to have that BKB up for the next Roche fight if you do go ASAP. See what OB.Neon do decide to do.
They spot out the smoke with a charge, so it's not going to amount to much from Doom, but that should allow them to just kind of posture around a Roche pit. It is inching for the respawn. OB.Neon's not quite set up to take. There are good boards from both sides, kind of watching that area, and OB.Neon gonna look for the smoke approach, maybe look for more pickoffs before committing for the Roshan.
We'll move into the Roche again. 1 second away, Makoto. He's barely missed out. Instead, though, they are going to find Play Hard again on this Mirana, and he just respawned up. He's going to go down immediately as now Makoto will see the Roche finally up. And he gives the call over to the team to come and claim this, as it is the second Roshan of the game, where Aegis and Shard is now available. Any particular person you think the Shards should go on? In fact, hold that thought, because FBC's coming with the Rolling Thunder. He's a little bit too early, but he's been very good at stealing this Aegis over and over again. But they are going to focus down FBC. Make sure he cannot take it, but Palos, he's in as well. RP's not up, but they're going to try charge in. Palos, he is going to drop at the Roshan. Will go the way of 458. He does outclick FBC this time around, and they take down the Pangolier. In fact, they even found CTM. Not this time, they say.
It's a lot better for OB.Neon. They focus in on their objective there, managed to get the lead. The Shard is still being held by John Uwell. Could be able to just pass it on if he wants, but I guess Spirit Breaker Shard isn't too bad as well, and he does take it. So 200 extra damage on the Nether Strike, spell immunity, a 4-second break, lots of utility coming through. Yopaj.
No, and he get charged on, and you all doing some great work, but the arrow is going to connect, and that'll put a stop to his fun. Makoto still taking a fair bit of damage, but there's your Nether Strike out now, and that is a substantial amount of damage onto the Kunkka, as the Illuminate will just fly through. They'd love to find Play Hard, and the Moonlight Shadow is going to wear off, so Januo just charges right in. Look at the bashes, John. Just perfect. Times are looking very tough right now for Boom Esports in the second game as OB.Neon going to move into that mid-tier 3 tower. And even without the help of the Overlord, it's still a very fast push with this Lycan.
It doesn't take too long to mount the objectives. They do have the damage output. The Desolator from Magato definitely helping the cause in melting those objectives and melting down those buildings. One rack's down, one more to go. They could probably eye, well, they can't eye all, but they can eye the tier 4s if they feel confident. Respawn on Palos is coming up though, so they will play safe, and they are prevented from mega creeps by that tier 2 top. So Boom still have some room to play. The lead has widened to 12k. Palos.
RP out. He's doing this one solo. Drags Makoto back into the tier 2 tower. BKB's there. The mischief. It's not enough, but the Will-O-Wisp gonna hold a couple down. Nether Strike not there in time. 458, who are we aiming? FBZ, he'll hold down the Spirit Breaker, and there is your Bean Trip, but that's cancelled as well. Back in on CTM, they'll get the Bane down. Palos still trying to fight, but he's just so surrounded. How do you fight this many heroes at once? He's trying his damn best, but it's not gonna be enough. He is down again without buyback. OB.Neon, I think they've done it, John. We may have a tied series 1-1 here. I mean, you've still got 3 heroes up from Boom. And it looks like OB, they're not going to be 100% confident to move in without Makoto to that high ground. And so Boom Esports, they will hold on to 1 lane of barracks.
They've got a lot of high ground hold. Witty RP once the Magnus is back up. Of course, they've got the Torrent, the boat, decent enough to kind of hold back against a lot of these heroes in a tight spot. And they can kind of wave clear with Yopaj, so they can kind of stall the game out a bit more. They are playing against a huge deficit, 15k now. Palos is still in the lead, but you're seeing issues with his protection. He stands in front, he tries to just get hits off. As long as John Yuel's around, with his Nether Strike, with his bashes coming through, BKB doesn't save you. John Yuel's just doing a ton of work with his charges, with his Nether Strikes, getting the control they need to stop Boom from getting the damage off. And it's just complicating the process for Boom to win out these fights now. I think they had a bit of an earlier timing to have to play with the Kunkka core. They are trying to get Yopaj to be a big hitter with the Daedalus coming through. Still a ways off, and of course if he does completely buy out down the line, he's not going to have buyback. He's going to have to run with that risk, as it does feel like the items are necessary now for Boom to take these fights. For OB.Neon, well, they're in a really good spot. They've got everything they could ask for. They've got the Abyssal up in 458, so you can just instantly lock down any hero that goes his way. Satanic finished up on Mikado. She's a lot tankier in front now. Really hard to burst down with that self-dispel and the insane lifesteal he gets. And OB.Neon with those item spikes, they're going to go for the smoke play. If they can get that one big kill here, that could just be the end of the game.
Certainly so. This could be a very dangerous predicament here for Boom. It could just be their last chance altogether. They've got 1 buyback, and that's on FBZ right now. Everyone else is quite short. Dark Ascension has been popped in preparation, but nobody's around. Zhao Yu, not going to have that one up for the next team fight. Luckily, he does have an Arcane Blink, so the cooldown is very, very low right now with that Dark Ascension. And so he will just have to wait out another maybe 30 seconds. Boom, they are being very, very cautious. Just sitting in the base. And with these kind of games, at least for Boom Esports, you're waiting for a mistake to happen now from OB.Neon. I don't think they can really afford to be the ones initiating anymore. They've got to be the ones to wait for OB.Neon to just mess up while going high ground.
Yeah. And it's all about punishing the clump up on the ramp. It's all about the RP coming through, the follow through boat, the Torrent coming out. I think this would be a good point to maybe have the Torrent Storm up on Yopaj. That's how the Kunkka tends to have a second life. Like, the damage output's still good, but the Daedalus is still a ways off. And then you run the risk of not having buyback. Got to appreciate that Arcane Blink, right? Like, the lower cooldown does make it feel like there's a time with old Night Stalker where you had almost 100% uptime with Dark, or well, not Dark Ascension, but his ult, and turning it into Night every single time just made it so hard for the opposing team to go out. Same thing's happening here for Boom. Can't quite step outside of base. They've got no vision outside of map now. All they can do is just clear out the creep wave, and they're actually going to try for a smoke play.
Yeah, I mean, there's 10 seconds of downtime for Zhao Yu with this Arcane Blink up. Charge is going to be expended. Boundless is there. Palos looking for the initiation. FBZ rolling forward. Makoto going to avoid that. Will-O-Wisp has been dropped as well. Boom, they need to run ASAP. Yopaj, BKB is there, but the charge from Januel, the previous teammate, holding down the idol. They'll take him out. There's no buyback. And OB.Neon, through the top lane they go.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
How do you defend without your mid laner? It's all on Palos. We need a big RP out from this man. Face boots dropped on the ground. Whose are they? It's... Why does Yopaj's face boots... Why are they on the ground, John?
Radiant's top tower is falling.
I have no clue. I do not know why he dropped that. That's a great question. I wish I knew. And
Well, he
takes him
gets him,
back. Right.
he gets him back. Horn toss is there, but Januel again with a great charge in, and this isn't looking good. Palos has been
no.
blown up. No buyback available. This one could be over. They pop another Dark Ascension. The night never ends here for OB.Neon. There you go. The GG's been called. A 1-1 is going to be the result between Boom Esports and OB.Neon. And I suppose we'll have to wait for playoffs to have a proper best of 3 between these two to decide who was right and who was wrong.
Yeah, it was really close though. I think game 1 was a stronger look from Boom. Game 2, they did have the initial start they wanted to. They were getting the farm. They were taking the fights. Just a couple of slip-ups, and it fell apart. I think the big factor there for Neon was Januel. Like his charges, his nether strikes, going through the BKB, making it very awkward for Boom to find an opening to use their spells in the last few fights. Just made it so difficult to really get control. They had no opening for a good RP on Palos. They had so much control on Neon's side to counteract that blink initiation, and it just shaped up. OB.Neon do manage to win out. Now, they did draft the more broken lineup, right? They had Lycan,
Oh, they
Monkey,
took
Night
everything.
Stalker, and Kotl. But the fact that Boom held off against that for such a long time, and initially with the lag and Yopaj, it did look pretty good. Just not enough to close out, and OB.Neon get to be happy with a draw here.
It's been a fantastic series between these two. Again, I hope we get to see a playoff series between them to, again, decide who was... I mean, obviously there's no beef. You know, it's a bit of fun between these two, but they want to win. One of these teams wants to win. It's important. Nevertheless, we do have one series coming up. It is going to be Execration against, I believe, Dreammaker. Yeah, it is. So Execration versus Dreammaker, final series of the night. There is going to be about a 15-minute break, but right after that break, we'll be back for that final series. See you then.